Hello, this is a quick demonstration on how to do an AI-assisted migration of a landing zone. So, first of all, I'm going to talk about the requirements to do this kind of migration. First of all, if you have a Windows operating system, I strongly recommend you to use Ubuntu in Windows Subsystem for Linux, since the tools that we are providing are developed to work better in these kind of environments. So it is strongly recommended to use Ubuntu if you want to have a smooth experience. However, this can also work properly in Windows system, but it was not tested, okay? So it is strongly recommended to do this. Then we will also need a code editor. In this case, we are using Visual Studio Code, which you can download from code.visualstudio.com and click here in Download for Windows. Also, we will be developing Terraform code for the landing zone migration, so we will need to install Terraform. You can go to developer.hashicorp.com/terraform install and follow the instructions provided here for Linux, since we are using a Ubuntu environment. Also, we will need OpenCode as the coding AI agent. The tools we are providing are compatible for almost any AI coding agent, so you can also use tools like Cloud Code, Codex, or Gemini CLI if you want. However, we recommend OpenCode with the Huawei Cloud MAS solution. Once you have those tools installed, you can access the terminal of the Windows subsystem for Linux by clicking in this arrow and then selecting Ubuntu. Then, once you are in the environment, you can copy the commands to install Terraform. Okay, I need to write my sudo password here. I'm gonna overwrite since I already had it installed. And here we have Terraform installed. Now we will proceed with the OpenCode installation, which is done by copying this command. And we are ready. Now we have prepared the following files in this folder that we are going to open using Visual Studio Code. To do so, I'm going to write the command code dot. This should open the current directory. In this directory, you will find the following files. First, you will find a readme.pdf. This has the guide on how you should use this repository. This is a template to work with landing zone Terraform migrations. In this repository, you have a lot of also skills. Here you have a folder called .opencode with skills that let your AI agent know how to use and how to deploy a landing zone in Huawei Cloud, and also an agents.md file that is used by the AI agent to know what to search for and what are the specific procedures to create a landing zone. So, as we already did, we already installed Terraform using the command terraform version. As you can see right here, we have already installed OpenCode, and we have prepared the Huawei Cloud credentials. If you don't have prepared your Huawei Cloud credentials yet, you can go to your console, log in into your account, and go here, click My Credentials, And once this page loads, you can generate your access key and secret key here. So we are going to do that right now. We're going to wait for this website to load, and we are going to generate our access key and secret key. However, before doing anything here, you need to keep in mind that you need the following cloud resources already deployed, because these kind of resources cannot be created from Terraform itself. You need a Huawei Cloud organization. You need to have your organization root ID, your root or master account. You need to have an OBS bucket to store the Terraform state. Preferably, you can create this bucket in the same region where you're configuring the landing zone. You need to have an identity center instance if your solution requires that. You need to have an identity center instance and identity center groups. And if you already have organizational units created, you must provide those organizational units to the AI so that it can integrate everything else from the landing zone. Here in access keys, we can click on create access key, and then it downloads a file, and then you have the access key that you can use. Then you should copy these commands and replace your OBS access key and also replace your OBS secret key. These environment variables say AWS. Um, However, these environment variables are not intended for for AWS. You must put here your Huawei Cloud credentials, not AWS credentials. AWS is just the standard that Terraform uses to read the keys. So you can execute the command as follows. Remember to replace this with your own key. And then I'm going to copy the next command and paste it over here. Once that is done, you can clear the terminal to avoid leaking your credentials, and you will have your environment prepared. Then you must start your AI agent. In this case, we are using OpenCode, so I'm going to start OpenCode. Here you can see that it opens this window. You have to keep in mind that this window has everything, all the skills and the agent's MD already loaded and ready to work. So your AI assistant in this specific workspace already has all the knowledge and tools to perform a full landing zone migration. What we're going to do next is to describe the landing zone. So I'm gonna just copy this as an example. However, remember that you must modify this with your information. I'm gonna use this as an example. I'm gonna keep the region as LA South. I'm gonna say that my root account is called my root account. My organization root ID is this, and that the organizational units will be the following. The accounts will be the following, and then the control policies will be the following. So then when I hit enter here, the AI will do the following. The AI will load the Huawei Cloud Landing Zone Terraform skill, and then it will start generating all the Terraform files following the established patterns. Then it will create SCP, IAM policies in JSON files. It will write the Terraform bars with the values that you defined, and then it will validate the code. So let's try. Okay, as you can see, it is already loading the Terraform skill. With the Terraform skill, the agent is now capable of writing Terraform code. So we are going to give it some time. Right now, the agent has already read all the skills, read all the content that is provided, and created a plan to implement the landing zone using Terraform. Okay, as you can see, the AI agent is already creating the files. We can see the progress over here, and is still creating more files. So we are going to give it more time. Okay, as you can see here, all the core Terraform files are now created. Now the AI will proceed to create the SCP policies. As you can see, it created a folder with this root baseline SCP policy. Here, the AI agent is following the recommendations that we gave the AI here in the skills in order to provide the policies with the best good practices. Of course, you can ask the AI agent to modify these policies or modify any Terraform configuration to fit your own requirements. However, here you can have the best practices for most of the use cases already implemented. Now the AI agent created the variables files with the information about the landing zone. This is one of the most important files since it defines the structure of the landing zone accounts. Now the AI is running validation scripts in order to check if the source code is correct. It just executed Terraform init and now it's validating the code. As you can see, the configuration that the has created is completely valid. Now the AI agent has finished creating the files. So we are going to review manually the files that it created. We are not going to review anything in order to everything so we take advantage of using AI. However, we are going to review the most important file, which is the master TF bars. Here in the master TF bars, we can see the basic structure of our landing zone. So here we can check if the accounts that we requested have been created. If we check the prompt that we gave the AI at the beginning, we can see that we requested infrastructure, business, and security organizational units. As you can see, these organizational units were created over here, and the sub-accounts that we requested are being created over here. Also, it is assigning the permissions that it created and the policies that it created to each account. So everything seems to be right, so we can move on to the next step. So we can ask then the AI to show the Terraform plan. Terraform plan is basically what the code will execute in the Huawei cloud when it is executed. So we are going to ask the AI to provide this information to us so that we can review it. As you can see here, the model is trying to get some credentials. In this case, I don't have an account capable of deploying a landing zone. So we are going to ask it to try it without using any credentials for this example. But if you want to do it for real, you need to prepare an account with an organization in it. As described in this section, you must prepare a Warrior Cloud organization and have an organization with ID. In my case, I don't have it, so we are going to continue without credentials. I'm going to ask the AI specifically to provide an example output of what it will be. As you can see, the AI made a mistake while editing one file. However, it is fixing the mistake by itself. We're gonna give it more time. As you can see, this is the output that we would get by running the real command. We don't have the real output because I don't have the test account to deploy a landing zone. However, this is the output that you will need. Here, it is important that you check if the information provided here is correct and if everything is in order. If you see that the AI did something wrong, or made a misconfiguration, you must point it to the AI agent so that the AI agent can fix the issue by themselves. Okay, I'm going to stop the AI agent since this might take some time. The real Terraform plan will also take some time, so we are not going to wait that. Finally, if the Terraform plan is correct and everything is okay, you can jump to the next step, which is finally deploying the solution. So you might want to write something like apply the Terraform code, or something like run Terraform apply. With this, the AI will connect to your Huawei Cloud account and will set up everything as you want it in your account. And this will be the end of the landing zone AI assisted migration. So let me know if you have any questions, any doubts. I'll be happy to answer them to you. Thank you.